Okay, in this video you're going to learn about the different types of management functions, different objectives and strategies for businesses, and then we're going to look at the actual contribution organisations make to the economy, both positive and negative. So first of all, a manager has a job to plan and coordinate all the different resources they have and try and do that in the most efficient and effective way possible. So the four main economic resources that any organisation has is its physical resources. So that could be its land, any of its equipment, its machinery, materials, its plant or manufacturing buildings. Then you've got the human resources, so that's the employees. Finance in terms of their money and any information, so that could be any recipes, any technology resources they have. And then every company only has a limited amount. Even though some businesses have lots and lots of those resources, it's still limited. So how they use that, each manager has to decide how to use that in the most efficient manner possible, and that is where the management functions come in. So the different types of areas of management, or the management functions, this is them. So we have operations, that deals with the day-to-day activity. So if you're manufacturing, if you're Ford and you're building cars, then the actual production, the production line, that's the operations. Human resource management, that deals with the relationship between managers or the organisation and the employees. So that's another management function. Finance and admin includes any accounting or admin support. Research and development. Now, organisations normally aim at what we call world's best practice. So they're always trying to find new products. So that could be Apple trying to come up with the latest technology. It could be any other business trying to talk about how to produce something in the most efficient manner. And then you've got your marketing, which is your promotion and sales of your products. So they're the five main management functions, and it's really important you know those. Now, every organisation has objectives and strategies, whether that's a corporation or whether that is a government department. They've still got objectives and strategies. So the objectives is a desired goal. Okay, that's what they're trying to achieve. It's what gives the organisation direction. Strategies are the actions that are taken in order to try and achieve that objective. Now, the actual largest objective that an organisation has is a vision or a mission. Now, we can look at that as a separate, two separate terms, or we can look at them at the same. Different organisations look at them differently. Essentially, they are a really broad statement on what the organisation aspires to become. So the mission statement is why an organisation exists, its actual purpose, and how it will operate. From there, each of those management functions that we learnt in the slide previously, they'll set certain objectives that they're trying to achieve. Now, how they try and achieve that will then determine what strategies they use. Okay, so it's all got to be in line with the vision or mission of the organisation. If it's not, then the organisation can get lost and there can be competition between the functions, but it's important that everything that they're trying to achieve is tailored towards that vision statement. Now, in terms of what organisations contribute to Australia's economy, there's a couple of different things. So, first of all, they operate on a large scale. So the first thing is what we call economies of scale. That means that they're able to produce their products or service at a lower cost because they're operating on such a large scale. They can buy things in bulk and they're operating quickly. So that lower cost actually transfers to the consumer, and that's why small organisations can find it hard to compete on price with large ones. Large amounts of employment, both directly and indirectly. So the employment, large-scale organisations, it's around about 33% or a third of the private sector. So they provide large amounts of employment by employing themselves, but also indirectly. So there could be suppliers that have to supply, so that people that supply Ford with the nuts and bolts, they obviously are really busy, so they need to employ lots of people. And that employment gives people disposable income that can then be spent in the rest of the economy. Improved industrial base, that's where they try and increase their technology or their world's best practice, which helps improve infrastructure. So if a mining company went into the middle of nowhere, they'd have to build infrastructure such as roads and rail, electricity, all those kinds of things, so they contribute that way. And also in terms of research and development and innovation. So they're always trying to look at better products, better production methods in order to save costs and produce things quicker. Henry Ford's a great example there, where he produced the production line. Export earnings, because they export, we earn foreign income, so that keeps money in Australia, which is a great thing. And that helps what we call our balance of payments. So we're actually exporting more than we are importing, so the money is staying in Australia. And as I said before, improves infrastructure growth, so roads, railways, communication systems, healthcare facilities, etc. So they're the positives. Now the negatives, because they're operating on a large scale, even though they employ lots of people, in order to reduce costs, they often downsize. That's happened lots in the last few years, where businesses are actually reducing the amount of workers they have. And because they're operating on a large scale, normally they don't just downsize by 5 or 10 people, often it's hundreds or even thousands. So Ford last year reduced the workforce by 350 workers in Geelong and Broadmeadows, so that hurts the economy. Outsourcing is another one where you actually get some of your non-core tasks completed by another organisation. Now, if that's done overseas, then that is taking work away from Australians, and so some people may lose their jobs. And because they're operating on a large scale, they have a large carbon footprint, so there can be lots of damage to the environment through either transportation or their actual production, that the greenhouse gases they're producing in their production. So it's important to note that large organisations have both positive and negative impacts on Australia's economy.